Guys, welcome back. Really happy how the channel develops lately, and today I thought I'm gonna talk about my setup in general and try to tell how everything is connected, what is doing what, and also what's the thought behind how it's set up. Additionally, I think I will talk also about a few things that are not specifically related to the setup, that are more work and workflow thoughts in general. So as you can see, I have 3 main devices right now, even though the push is where it all comes together. And I think I start with the Eurorack. I already made a few videos about it, and you can see how I create low end in this section here with the Pony VCO and the carbon from WMD, and the Veek together with the Mod Medusa is the main voice and also used as a sound effect. The Metropolix is actually the main sequencer in the setup. It's also connected via the expander via USB directly into push. Really cool. They just added program change in the latest update for the Metropolix, so I can basically change my individual sequences here from push. It's very convenient because I did not really like and still do not really like the small buttons and the combinations you need to push. If you're gonna improvise fully and just stick with one thing, you maybe get around it, but even then I have to say I am using a lot of it, and so whenever I can and I can bring it to somewhere else where I have a bit more tactile feeling, I will use that. And here is just the VCA for the low-end voice, and this is where it all comes together from Eurorack. That's from BoardBrain the Optics version 2, and it goes via ADAT into the push. So I use right now just the inputs. It can also send outputs, which I would most likely use, for example, to record my sets. I can mirror basically the main track from the push and send it out to additional outputs, and then I can have the main connection to the PA and have another mirroring connection to my recording device, which is great. And you can also see it blinking here. So there's also some CV LFO from Max for Life and Ableton. That's from something I tried out earlier. I did not get rid of it. And now if I'm seeing it, I will do it because I'm not using it right now. And it's also good to save resources. All right, then we have this so far. I would say we go on to the Digitone. Digitone is actually providing me in this case also sound effects and sequences. The whole setup right now is a mix between improvisation and programmed playing, and therefore the Digitone came back here into the setup because it provides me also sequences that I made earlier. And with the Digitone I also use the program changes. It is connected here via the MIDI out from the push into the Digitone, and the audio from the Digitone as well into the optics. And then we push play here. It is all running, all synced up. I can mute the voices, the sequences here on the Metropolix. then you hear that this is actually an underlying element of the main theme. And on this track I have another sequence which I can blend in if I want to, or if not, then also fine. So this is actually what happens in the Digitone. There's also a lot of old sequences, music on the Digitone, and I'm really happy to integrate it back and still have somehow a footprint I like, because for me it's never about to have a big setup. I'm simply getting too stressed out if there's too much going on. And I'm also not a big fan of X amount of voices, so that makes the music also a bit more sequential sometimes, so that the elements go from one to another. Can be a benefit, because if it's flowing it's really nice. Can also be a risk, because if not, then the mood is gone. And yeah, as I already said, this is a mix of improvisation and prepared music, and especially with the week I improvise quite a lot, and that's a nice thing about this setup here. Now that we have that, I would say we come to the push, because this is now the main hub where everything comes together. Sequences are here individual, and the drums coming from the push. Small hint for the kick drum, for example, I experimented a bit with the drum synth kick from Ableton and Max for Live, and I was looking for a kick that is not super characteristic, because it works together in a tandem with my low end. So it's not about to have a fully fledged characteristic big kick drum, and it's more functional kick drum, as you can hear. What means functional? It's like the decay is pretty short. That would be to fill the low end a bit more like this. And it's also not too much saturated or distorted. I can do this here, but it's really just all very subtle and not too intense, because as I said, getting the low end in. And it works actually pretty well. Additionally, I have a chain selector here, so I made in Ableton and drum rack and use a chain basically to switch between different kick drums if I want to. That's something I took over from the simulator from Rossum Electro Music, and I can basically switch the kick drum on the fly if I want to, and use also different kick drums then for different phases in the set. And yeah, that's something I still want to work on and also expand to have a bit different characteristic kick drums as well, of course. And yeah, this is that. What I also just lately figured out, okay, here it's now somehow working, but this is too far, so I really want to have muting like a one-hand gesture, so I will bring up my kick and my other drums all the way up to here. I can reach it and then I can still play or do whatever, and this is essential for me, so there is no way I cannot reach that. Of course, I can hook up another controller. I have also a fader Fox here. It's not in the near, but I have it around, and maybe at some point I will add this as well. But for now I try it like this. Also for me, bringing as less as possible, and yeah, that's how I work right now. I can mute, unmute here on the visual tracks on the push. That's now the weak. Effect wise, I'm having the low end dry, just an EQ to cut the lows, the really deep lows, and giving it already some clarity, if that's the right word. And it's important because the low end will have an effect then on the master compressor, and the more you send in that, even though you do not hear it, it's energy and the compressor will react. Some compressors also have a low cut already included, so you do not have to worry about it. But to have the overview, I mainly cut out the lows in the voices that are responsible for that. So what else do we have? Kick drums, I have different clips. I will actually see in my future performances, and I will play a gig on the 22nd of November, how much clips I'm gonna use. I really like to stay just in one clip right now, and then basically work with the loop selector to go to different parts in that clip, because there's a really big problem right now for me with the push, and it's basically it's still showing the old clip, even though I played it. So I always need to hit select and select the clip, and then it's there. And that's actually completely, you know what I mean. So actually that's completely not good for improvisation if you start to need navigating around, and I had this already. And for me the safest way would be, if I want to also adjust a lot, to just stay with one clip and work with this all the time. And I will actually see how I'm going from here. I hope they will find an workaround or an edit in the future. I already suggested it, but let's see how this is going. And it's actually made for, or it's great if you want to have a clip played and already work on another one and then bring it in. But for how I'm doing it right now, that's really yeah, it's a bummer. It's really difficult to work like that. Anyways, we go to the next track, and here I have for the Eurorack and for the Digitone my program changes. So whenever we go to a different scene, or even here with the clips, actually here was nothing happening because it's still the same settings, but I can go here through and go to different elements. And that's actually why I switched, because I want to be able to also, if I'm really having a low energy wise, that I can bring up something. It's actually good to have that. I already played 2.5 years, 3 years without any this kind of safety nets, and it was a lot of fun. But for me also lately, I became actually a dad 1.5 years ago, so my energy is pretty low, and that's for me a good way to still provide the music then that is working. That's also something you can see in the week video. I will repatch this one output to different elements. As it's actually here on the filter now, and here it's on the fuse, which is from the generator, one of the, I think it's a chorus on this one. Very subtle, and switched algorithm. It's also 22nd of November is going to be a bit more dark kind of party, so I'm more like in the disharmonic fields right now. It's also great with the VIC, you can quickly dial it in from G's, even though it's not made for that, to completely evil if you want to. I have the 2 program change tracks and I have the 2 audio tracks. There are different solutions, but that's how I like it right now. And here we can also put that low cut in a bit, so. And these 2 tracks, the Eurorack tracks, they're also going into a track that is doing sidechain from the kick, and that's actually a summing track. If I have more tracks, everything goes into that and gets a sidechain, and that's it for that. Then I have some sound effect loops additionally I carried from a track I was working on. I hope I will finish it soon, and that's from Ableton. So I brought it in here to play around with it. It's basically sustainable use of what I just worked, and we can also listen to those. It has an auto filter. I really like the new auto filter with the individual setups, and the DJ filter especially, because you have this possibility to go from high pass to low pass in seconds and then already mix just by the filter. There's also LFO modulation on it to give it some movement, not to be too static. So these are the individual loops. They are also additionally transformed here in the push, because I can easily go in here, transpose it down, up. Really like that. Need to remember, rewatch the video. So yeah, these are all the individual loops from that. Then I have one of the instruments that are running on the push, barely using it, but for me it's actually nice to play it. That's also another reason I got the push for, to finally play instrument again. I was playing and learning autodidact way keyboard and stuff when I was young, and went on then later with also playing piano. And yeah, for me, I really like to play instrument, and I would not say I'm an instrumentalist, but I just like it. And it's for me a nice way to connect also further with the music, and that's why I have this here. I can play if I want, I can improvise with it if I want, I can record it, and yeah, I really like also to be able to have this inside here, and it's also the thing to quickly create then the tone that fits also now for this event I was just talking about. I can quickly go in here in different keys and also play and create other moods. I have here also already a few clips. If you watch some earlier videos, you can see me playing. I really like this also, so I need to see, either I save it. That's also something you can easily push here, shift and save. It creates a new version for you and the old one will be there. Version 2 has been saved, so I can go back to my old version. No renaming, nothing, which is great. And this clip here, audio clip, is actually not used because I'm still trying a lot of things out and sometimes that stays in that project. We have here a pad. Can imagine playing this in an opening intro kind of setup. And yeah, let's see. Like said, the sidechain. Then I still have here push, CV and gate running out of the outputs. Or sorry, I can also use the optics. That's also something I tried to watch earlier videos. I'm basically using Sting 2 as sequencer, and here's also the LFO, which is pretty nice. I can attenuate it and also change the rate. So if I run out of modulations or I need to replace it because I want to add something else, I can use my outputs also as a modulation from here. Here's the diode from Force FM. That's also something I played around with and also created some loops out of it. It's actually a nice Max for Live device, as said, made by Force FM, and was also the first thing I uploaded here and tried out how much is it all working all together. And it is working good together, but it has already a lot of different layouts then to work with, which also get, for me personally, quite a lot. And yeah, just stressing a bit too much, because that's the layout from the diode. So I can integrate this, but for me, also having a new setup, it's also about to grow with that setup, try things out, and also make a step back if it's, yeah, as I said, too much. And then if everything sits, go on from there, add more, try more things, and usually that's not even necessary. So I would also, if I think about it, to integrate the diode, I would get these other loops out, for example, the sound effect loops, and work with diode, which would be nice also to have more, even more immediate connection and being able to adjust things. So that's actually about everything inside here. And one thing is actually left. So effecto I send, return, reverb, delay, I'm barely using. Actually the effects come from the Digitone or here from the Week itself, because it has the effects on this side. And for me with the push, and not just for me, I think in general, it's still also about to save resources and it is already for each individual track then just this one effect additionally, but it takes resources actually, especially if the reverb is with a longer tail and has more a big ambience reverb sound, then yeah, it's better to go with something else, in my opinion. It depends also strongly how much is already in there, of course. But for me, I also want to be safe on this side when I play. So if I have options to make it externally right now, then I also do it. And last but not least, we come to the main track, and the main track actually has the auto filter. It's now a bug here. Usually you can see it as you would see it here. You also not see it anymore. So this can actually happen in the beta, that some elements then are just not shown up properly, but you would see the fade-ins as you did earlier. Let's go to the main track. I have a saturator slightly used. Can actually crank it up a bit. It's also the nice thing, you have this different emulations. That's a soft sine. You also have really hard curve. So if you want to have the distorted sound, of course you can get it. So I leave it in a very subtle setting. Then the compressor. And at the end, just to avoid the digital clipping, we have, sorry for jumping around, let's go back to here. I have the limiter on the end. And that's mainly it. This is the setup right now. I'm happy so far how everything is working. Push gets feature added more and more, and like I said, just the program change, for example, it's great. You could already do it in Ableton. I have to say you can do way more in Ableton itself also. But having it now on the push and working here with it is actually great. And yeah, that's the setup right now. And if you have any questions, any thoughts, any complaints, then just write me a comment, or yeah, tell your neighbors what's going on. And yeah, I hope I could cover everything. And if you liked the video, like, subscribe to my channel, and I'm happy to build this up further from here. Thanks a lot, and ciao ciao.